Welcome to A Toast to the Men with your guy S.D. Booker. Thanks for joining me, Toasters. It's good to be here. It's good to be back in fellowship with you. It's good to be above ground. I hope you feel the same because it's a blessing to be above ground. I don't take it for granted. And you shouldn't either. It wasn't promised to us, but we're here. We're going to make the most of it. So let's get into it, y'all. Today, I want to touch on the Pooh Shiesty / Gucci Mane uh, mess. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Mess. Um, so let me give you a little background on this. Pooh Shiesty is a rapper. Uh, I wouldn't even say up and coming rapper. I guess he's been in the game now um, for about 4 years. I guess about 4 or 5 years. So he's rising. He's on the rise. Has a nice following. And what's so unique about that young man is you can tell from the lyrics, even though he's young, that he knows what he's talking about. He's been around some old heads. He's been raised by some old heads because the detail in which he speaks uh, or recites his lyrics, uh, the confidence he recites these lyrics with, and the energy behind it, you can tell he's been around some old heads, and that he's the truth when it comes to that world. And I don't say that to glorify it, but it is what it is. And that also plays a part on this mess transpiring and how we got to this point. Now, Gucci Mane is the CEO and entrepreneur of 1017 record label. He's also a rapper. He doesn't rap as much, but that's how he got in the game, rapping. And Gucci Mane's been in the rap game for a while, probably going on 20, 25 years. Had a little mainstream success. I think he did something with Mariah Carey, but he's really respected in the streets, on the rap level, on the streets and underground type thing. I don't know if he really hit superstardom, but he's known, and he made his waves in his heyday. Did some time, had some struggles. Excuse me, my microphone popped out. Had some struggles. Had some mental health issues. Some substance abuse issues. Made his way back. Was married, father, doing well in business, and it seems like he turned that corner. He turned that corner, and he's doing well. He's doing quite well, by all appearances. But a little background on this. A few months ago, I guess in December, it was rumored that Pooh Shiesty and his cohorts uh, had robbed Gucci Mane. A lot of people thought it was rumored because Gucci never spoke on it. Uh, and people never really spoke on it verbally, but people were showing off the jewelry that they had taken from Gucci Mane. And, but nobody really knew. Well, I say the masses didn't know. People knew who knew, but the masses didn't know. And eventually, a few days ago, the feds got involved. Well, the feds had been involved, but the feds came out with their indictments and their arrests. And they arrested Pooh Shiesty, his cohorts, and another aspiring rapper, was a Big 30. But along with the arrest was his father. The arrestees was his father, Pooh Shiesty's father. And that's why we're talking about this. We're talking about this for a few things, but that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this, because I don't get into the gossipy side of it. I like to look at these things and say, okay, how can I apply this to my life? How can we apply this to our lives as lessons? How can we use this as a mirror? Not to judge, but as a mirror, because you can't judge others when you're looking in that mirror. You got to look at your own life and see what corrections can I make. And although this is extreme, robbery, kidnapping, things like that, feds getting involved, that's extreme. but we can still apply some lessons to our own lives. So yeah, so the feds got involved, made the arrest, arrested 7 to 8 people. I think Big 30 is still at large. I don't think they got him yet. But like I said, one of the arrestees uh, was the father, was Pooh Shiesty's father. And it came out in the indictment, in the report, that uh, Gucci Man and Pooh Shiesty had been having conflicts, contractual conflicts, a conflict over a contract, a deal that they both agreed upon at one point. Um, in the midst of that contract, Pooh Shiesty goes to jail for a few years, I believe for a robbery, right? Or shooting. He gets out, has a hit song, First Day Out, hit song. Uh, he's bigger than he's ever been. He's bigger than he was before he went in, right? So it's not clear if he wanted to renegotiate or he wanted off the record label altogether. That's not clear. I'm hearing he wanted off the record label. He wanted to get with Yo Gotti's label. I don't know. So I don't know if he wanted to renegotiate or off the label, get off the label altogether. It looks like they couldn't see eye to eye on that. Um, but at one point, something was told to Gucci Man. Something was relayed to him. A conversation was had that had to be cordial and respectful because Gucci Man agreed to come to Dallas, Texas, where I reside, and meet Pooh Shiesty at a music studio, and have a sit down. When he gets to the studio, Pooh Shiesty puts out a contract. Uh, Wants Gucci Man to sign it. Gucci Man refuses. That's when the guns come out. That's where the kidnapping comes into play because you're not letting me leave. You're not allowing me to leave. You're impeding on my movement. You're impeding. You're stopping me from leaving. That's kidnapping. So that's where the robbery comes in. Taking earrings off the ears, chains, watches, uh, wedding rings. And you're doing this with a gun. That's where the aggravated is attached to the robbery. Pooh Shiesty's on parole. That's where the parole violation comes into play. That's where a felon with a firearm comes into play. So this is a mess. This is a mess. On top of that, I'm hearing that Gucci Man Security is a retired police officer. He was one of the people that was kidnapped, detained, held against his will, robbed. He was one of those people. So this is a huge mess. What can we learn from this, though? What can we learn from this? There's a young man. I don't even know if he's 30 years old yet. Um, and he's carrying out such a violent and heinous crime with his father. Now, did his father know this was going down? I don't know. But still, for a young man to be so comfortable doing this with his father in tow says a lot. He actually has a lyric in a rap song that he states his father was his first co-D. That means co-defendant. His father was his first co-defendant. And obviously that happened before this incident. Uh, so that says a lot about the relationship, about the household, about the upbringing, the mindset of this young man. Man, I tell y'all all the time, toasters, everything we need to know or want to know is in that Bible. Is in that Bible. Um, We perish from a lack of knowledge. We perish, we die. Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, we die, we perish from a lack of understanding, a lack of knowledge. I mean, the word says, and all you're getting, get an understanding, get knowledge. This is sad to the utmost degree. Not just because, I know people look at it like, man, there's so much money he's leaving on the table, or man, he threw his life away. And let me say this, although, there is surveillance, there is tape out there, there's video, pictures out there. There is a retired cop that's involved in this. His word carries a lot, I guarantee, in that judicial system. He still has to go to court. He still has to go through due process and have his time before his peers. He still has to do that. So it doesn't look good, but he still has to go through the process, and it could get off. It doesn't look like it, but hey, I've seen worse cases, more dire looking cases, and people have beat them. So we don't know. I don't have a dog in a fight. I don't really care if he gets off or doesn't get off, honestly. But this is a time for us to look and say, how can we learn, man? What can we learn from this? For one, first facet I'm gonna cover the father-son relationship. That's a messed up relationship right there. That's a messed up relationship. And like I said, man, I don't proclaim to be a Christian, not in the context as how it's been pushed on us. And we'll get into that another day. But that word is the truth. The word is the truth, man. And whether you think these people in the Bible existed or not is really irrelevant to an extent. Focus on the words, focus on the message, the stories, and ask yourself, do these stories apply to my daily life? Do these stories have any weight, any validity, whether I prosper or perish, whether I'm in bondage or free, or whether I'm stuck in the old life or moving into a new life? That's what you got to focus on. Don't focus on whether these people existed. We can deal with that later. Focus on the lessons. Are they relevant? Are they prophetic? That's it. So we're gonna look at this father-son relationship. Ephesians 6:4. And you, fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath, but bring them up in the training of the Lord. Now, what does that mean? Of the Lord. Righteousness, man. Higher self. Goodness. Healthy mindset. Pure heart. Pure thoughts. Pure motives. Fairness. That's how you got to bring up the kids. That's fathers. Commandments to fathers. Now, do you think Pooh Shiesty was brought up that way? See, all this could be avoided. This can all be avoided. Do you think Pooh Shiesty was brought up that way? I doubt it. Deuteronomy 6:6. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. It's saying just don't teach one day, man. We got to live this in front of the kids. We got to show them this has to be a daily thing, just part of our lives. Just part of our lives. One day I was having a conversation, it was years ago, I was having a conversation with my sister. This was when Bush was in office, the son. He was in office, and she was going in, and a few people that were around at the table were going in on how he's not an eloquent speaker, and and they were saying, in their opinion, he didn't know much about politics, and he was dumb, and they were going in, right? And I said, man, this dude will run circles around all of us when it comes to politics. He may not be the best speaker. Sometimes that's a gift, and sometimes you can have training to become a better speaker. And sometimes that's just going to be your Achilles heel, to keep you humble or whatever. But don't get it twisted. He will run circles around all of us at this table when it comes to politics. You know why? He's raised up in it. He was born in it. This is what they talk about. This is what they do daily. He don't know nothing else. We talk about politics here and there, at the barber shop, at the house, at dinners, at parties, or whatever. Like, it ain't our life like that. This is not how we eat. Oh, it's seasonal with us. So this is what the word said when it comes to a fathering, teaching. Man, you got to go to sleep with this. You got to wake up with this. You got to walk with this. You got to lay down with this. Get up with this. Got to eat with this at the table. These lessons. It's not a one-off. It's not a one-off. And these lessons you're talking about, these are righteous lessons. These are lessons that are part of the covenant with God. So that's the thing, man. You got to ask yourself, not just on this Pooh Shiesty thing, were they in covenant with God? Or were they in covenant with Satan? See, there's two forces, and we can be just as dedicated, just as committed, just as consistent, teaching our kids the unrighteous things, the dark things, the shady things, as we can be teaching them the polar opposite. The boy's name is Pooh Shiesty. That's just what it is. His dad is known, I think, as Big Mob, something like that. But he has he has a reputation in Memphis. Uh, this is part of the lineage. Where you sow your seeds is going to determine the fruit you bear. What kind of seeds are you putting in your seeds, your children? What kind of thoughts, lessons are you putting in your children? Proverbs 4:1. Listen, my sons, to a father's instruction. Pay attention and gain understanding. I give you sound learning. So do not forsake my teaching. Man, Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. How are we training up our kids? Like, real talk, how are we training up our kids, man? What are we putting in the kids' minds, consciously and subconsciously? What are they seeing? What are they hearing? This is a prime example, man, of a child being raised on the unconscious side. I'm not even gonna say the wrong side. It might be wrong to me and you, but if this is what their focus was, if this is what their target was, it's not wrong. They hit their target. If this is what they wanted, I don't know what they believe. I don't know what side they claim to be on. But if this is what they wanted, uh, they hit their target. So I can't even say it's wrong. It might be right for them. Like, hey, this is the plan. We know the destiny. We know what this life brings. So they might be cool with it. But we gotta decide, who are we in covenant with? What side are we on? And it's gonna show through the kids. Now, I haven't done everything right as a father. One of the main things I did wrong as a father, my kids got to witness divorce. So that's a seed planted, divorce, right? And that could be a hard seed to break, because you might start a trend, right? But on the flip side to that, we can also show the kids how we rebound from failure. Yeah, don't get it twisted. Divorce is failure. I mean, it didn't work. You failed at it. I mean, you had a good run, but you failed it, ultimately. But they can see how you rebound. Were you bitter afterwards? Did you badmouth the other person? Was your heart hardened? Did you go in deep depression? Were you mad at the world? Did you get mad at the opposite sex? Or did you keep an open heart? Did you keep those lines of communication open for co-parenting, for pleasant co-parenting? So, that's good to see too, because we will fall. And this is not what I'm ultimately talking about when I'm talking about Pooh Shiesty. I mean, this is intentional. They're intentionally, going the opposite way. They're intentionally. I mean, you hear it in the lyrics, you hear it on the name, it's in the bloodline. They're intentionally doing this. Come on, man, you pull off a caper with your dad in tow. That's on another level. That's on another level. And they say one of the guys who's been detained in that robbery, that kidnapping, was getting jittery, and Pooh Shiesty had to tell one of the guys, "Hey, don't shoot him." So this is nothing new. This is nothing new. Now, I broke down, Gucci Man, his turnaround. And people have a lot to say about Gucci Man. They say he drugged up. They've called him a clone. But maybe he just turned a new leaf. Maybe he has been reborn. Now, they have exclusively, he and his wife have exclusively talked about him being on medication when they were on the Breakfast Club, giving an interview. And hey, he may need medication. It's okay. Got to recognize your weakness, what you need. Uh, Listen, some of us endure some things growing up, some traumatic things that can take a toll on our mental state, even before we're born. Some of us have endured some things in the womb, or some things are just in our bloodline spiritually also. and things we got to fight, and that might need help with managing those things. But Gucci Man is the example of why God said man should not be alone. This is why the Bible is the Bible strongly states what a good woman is, what a good wife is, and the power of a good wife, having a good wife. Gucci Man's that example. And I know people have had things to say about his wife. And even when I saw the interview on the Breakfast Club, I was like, damn, man, she's sharing a lot of business, making him look away. But maybe that's what he needs. I'm not in that household. Maybe that's what he needs. She knows what he needs. We don't know. We're not in that household. But she knows. And this man has done a 180. Well, you're going to say a 360. He's done a 180. A 180. When he was in jail, they said she multiplied his money. She protects this man from himself, man. Got him off of social media. So he may not even know what's being said unless she's relaying these messages to him, information to him. He may not know what's going on. But she had to get him off of social media because he'll spaz out. He'll have these fits. So you got to be on medication. You got to be in the right environment. And this whole thing here could have triggered something in him. We don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. This could have triggered something to make him want to go back, to revert back to the old Gucci. And I do hope that doesn't happen because the man has made so many strides, has grown. It looks like he got a good thing going. But Proverbs 31 emphasizes that a virtuous wife speaks with wisdom and kindness. All through the Bible, man, it shows what a bad wife is and a good wife is, man. If your woman is not giving you good counsel, righteous counsel, and you can't trust her, you ain't got a good woman. If you can't trust your woman with your insecurities and your secrets, you ain't got a good woman. If you can't trust your woman to protect you from the world and to protect you from yourself, you ain't got a good woman. If your woman will gossip about you and tell somebody else some stuff about you when y'all have conflict, you ain't got a good woman. Period. Period. And yeah, I ain't got to go in detail on that. That we know what that is. We know what that looks like when a good relationship is in play. We know what that looks like. But the other facet I want to touch on is negotiations. When you do business, you have to have a grown up mindset. Paul said, when I was a child, I spake as a child, I thought as a child, I reasoned as a child, but when I became a man, I put away all childish things. You have a child in Pooh Shiesty. Although he's over 21, his mindset has not developed into manhood. And he's probably raised by a man who suffers from arrested development. His growth, his mental growth is stunted. So they like homeboys. The father and son are like homeboys. They have the same mindset. The same mindset. The father cannot correct the son. And the son does not truly respect the father. But when you do business, man, you have to come with the mindset of maturity. And you have to understand, when you make a deal, when you are the borrower, the lendee, the lender, the bank, and Gucci Mane's the bank in the situation, and Pooh Shiesty is the lendee, the borrower. Uh, the lender is not obligated contractually or legally to negotiate. They're not. Now, from an esoteric standpoint, a spiritual standpoint, and a moral, a righteous standpoint, we want to be fair. If Pooh Shiesty has outperformed, we're going to say that, outperformed the contract, let's go back to the negotiation table. That's fair. I don't know that was happening, or like I said in the beginning, I don't know if Pooh Shiesty wanted off the label completely, or if he's wanted to renegotiate. We don't know this. It'll come out, I believe, eventually. But from a spiritual and a moral standpoint, let's be fair on both sides. See, if both sides have the mindset of, and Pooh Shiesty has the mindset of, I want Gucci Mane to win. I want him to have the best deal in this as possible. And then Gucci Mane in return has the mindset of, I want Pooh Shiesty to win. I want him to have the best deal possible. Everybody wins. If both people have the mindset, man, I'm going to outgive you. I'm going to be better to you than you are to me. If both people have that mindset, like, you're not going to be better than me. You're not going to outdo me in being good. You're not going to outdo me in being fair. If both people have that mindset, they both win. But if one or both people have the mindset of me, 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 you're starting behind the 8 ball already. Starting behind the 8 ball already, man. And this is part of being part of covenant. You got to ask yourself, what covenant am I part of? Am I in covenant with righteousness, with the principles of God, with the highness, with the oneness? Am I in covenant with the 12 laws of the universe? Or am I in covenant with selfishness and Satan? You got to ask yourself that, be honest with yourself. Then you can really have an honest conversation with yourself and say, yeah, I've been operating in selfishness. I really didn't care if the other side looked good, if the other side, walked away from the table pleased. And this goes for both parties. But man, I'm telling you, when you in true covenant, eventually, man, you won't even be the borrower anymore. You'll be the lender. You'll be the lender. Man, when you're in true covenant with the Most High, man, it's not meant for you to keep borrowing money. To be a slave, to be in bondage. That's not. It's not meant to be like that. But so I'm making noise. I hear some noise, some buzzing, whatever that is, beeping. But yeah, man, we gotta really look at ourselves, look in the mirror, and ask ourselves, man, where do we stand? What side do we stand on? I'm saying, what kind of father am I? What kind of lessons am I teaching my kids? What kind of negotiator am I? Right? You know, the women listening, what kind of wife am I? Men listening, what kind of wife do I have? I'm telling you, man, people who have a wife, and I'm not talking about a wife because of title. A wife, a woman is a wife, a true wife. A true wife is a wife before she is a wife on paper. She could be technically single, but she moves and walks and talks and lives like she's a wife. You would think she's married the way she moves around. It's not a switch that goes on when you sign those papers. It's not, because your true colors are going to come out when you face conflict or you face breakup or face any kind of trial, tribulation. Your true self will come out. So, you know, how are you moving around when you're single? That's who you really are. So, yeah, this could have been avoided. We got to do better. We got to do better. Let me know what y'all think. As always, I love y'all toasters. Peace.